Well, the fall sports season has come and gone, and winter sports in full swing as the holidays as well are upon us. Welcome back to the Beech Grove High School Scouting Report. I'm Mark James. We'll be with you all throughout the winter sports season. We'll be talking with all of the coaches here at Beech Grove High School. And not only, of course, is he the athletic director here at Beech Grove High School, he's also in his 5th season as the head basketball coach. And we welcome Matt English to the show. Coach, how you doing?
Great. Thank you very much for having me on today.
Well, the season's off to a great start. We'll start on November 20th. 58-43, a win over an always scrappy Greenfield Central Ball Club. As important as it is to get the season off to a great start with a win in terms of momentum and feeling like you accomplished a lot over the summer, how good does it feel to get a win over the alma mater?
I was a little nervous going into that game.
Is that right?
And I didn't tell the kids. I didn't tell any of the kids that I had graduated from Greenfield. But I did have some extra nerves. A lot of my high school teammates and some friends were at the game. So that put a little extra emphasis on it for me, for sure.
Well, 58-43 shows that it's typical of an early season ball game in which maybe things weren't the most picturesque offensively, but obviously in terms of the 43 points that you gave up, Coach, let's face it, if you can keep most of your opponents in the 40s, you're going to have some success this year.
We certainly feel that way, and we played well in spurts. And like you said, that happens a lot early in the season. We found our rhythm early and got off to a lead, and then we'd have a couple of lulls and allow them to hang around. And that happened 2 or 3 times throughout the game. And then finally, late in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter, we kind of found our rhythm and stayed with it, and were able to get some stops and stretch a lead out to 15, what the final total was.
Well, we'll get into the specifics more in terms of your roster in just a few minutes, but with just 3 seniors going into the season, any concern with how young your ball club was, with how well you would play week 1?
The thing about our team is we are young in terms of age. We do have 4 seniors, Josh Martin, Tony Heiser, Corey Sublett, and Charles Williams, and we have 8 juniors. But what makes us young is the fact that not a lot of those kids have played varsity time. Mm-hmm. Corey Sublett was instrumental for us last year, and Joey Cardenas, a junior, has started for 3 years now. He started as a freshman and has started all the way. The thing that's good is that their guys have been in the program. So they've been around, they know what we do, they know how we like to do things. So we are young in terms of experience, but they're not young in terms of what we're doing. So that made me feel a little better going into the game.
I think you hit on something very, very important there. When you have a young basketball team, you only have a handful of seniors like you have. This is your 5th season, and let's face it, for all intents and purposes, this is now Matt English's program. You have kids in your program that have been with you and only you from late junior high now all the way up through high school. Do you see the benefits in that in terms when you get together and start practice, kids know what to do and how to do it and know what to expect?
I think that's the benefit of trying to get the program rolling, so that every year you've got kids coming up that know what the expectations are. They know how you want to play. They know how practice works, and you don't have to spend a lot of time teaching those rudimentary things that you started the program with. They're ingrained, and hopefully that's the idea, and hopefully that's where our program is now.
And more importantly, they know what the expectation level is off the floor and in the classroom.
Absolutely.
That's got to help.
Absolutely.
So let's get back to the game against Greenfield Central. You said you might have struggled a little bit because of just the fact that most teams do coming right out of the gate. Who played well for you against Greenfield Central?
The thing that we're really excited about, one of the things we're excited about, we're getting contributions from a lot of people right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of different people contributed to that first win. Senior Corey Sublett had a great night, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 3 block shots. And Corey and I just had a conversation the other day. You know, all players want to score, and that's important. The ball's got to go in the basket. But Corey's biggest asset is his energy. Mm-hmm. He's a senior, and he can do things physically that our other guys can't quite accomplish. And Corey was all over the place Tuesday night. He rebounded, he defended, he ran, he scored the ball, and just had a tremendous game. Junior Joey Cardenas had 22 points and 4 assists and was really aggressive with his offensive game, and hit some big shots when we were pulling away. But you can point to really everybody on the floor. Michael Jennings did a really good job controlling the basketball for us. Joe Pick, they all contributed to the victory.
Do people understand outside of the program how big it is to not only start off the season with a win, but also to start off that season with a win on the road? That's huge.
It is huge. Kids, I always talk to our guys about deserving success, mm-hmm. and I believe our kids do because they work. And they're good kids. Mm-hmm. And so you want to see them rewarded for all the hard work and effort and off season and summer conditioning that they do. So yeah, it's really nice to be able to get that first win under our belt.
And again, your sport is not unlike most others. I mean, let's face it, if you want to wait till the first day that the IHSAA says it's okay to go out there and practice, you want to throw the balls out then, chances are your success is going to be indicative of that. This is not the case with this bunch.
Certainly not. I can't keep them out of the gym. During the fall, they want the gym open at 6 in the morning, and it's not like they just go in there and kind of throw the ball around when we open the gym. We open the gym, pull out the basketballs, and then our guys who teach go and teach, and I go to my office and work. Those guys work at it. They push each other, and they work to get better, and I think we're seeing the fruits of that labor a little bit right now.
Didn't they get the chance to run up down the floor a little bit with a former Miss Basketball who's got some notoriety here at Beech Grove?
Katie Geralds would come in and play with us quite often this year. She was working herself back into shape off of a knee injury, and she was in at least a couple times a week for a good part of the fall. And obviously, having her around to play against is good for our guys, but she really understands how to play and understands the subtleties of the game, understands how to work at it, and she's really good with our younger guys. You know, she talks to them when they're playing about making this cut or making this play, and she was really kind of a mentor to the guys. It was neat.
I still believe to this day, and I've had the privilege of covering high school basketball for 30-some years, including state championships. I still believe that Katie Geralds is one of the greatest all-around basketball players that this state has ever seen, male or female. And I don't think I'm overstating it by saying those 3 free throws that she hit to put that game into overtime in front of all those people at Southport, to me, is about as close as you can come to Bobby Plum's shot at Milan in terms of pressure.
It's unbelievable. You know, one morning in the fall, Katie had been into play, and she'd made quite a few shots, and the guys were giving a couple of their teammates a hard time about the fact that Katie had lit them up a little bit that day. And I told them, I said, you guys need to understand, one of the greats who's ever played is playing in our gym right now.
That's right.
This isn't somebody that's just walking in off the street, doesn't know what's going on. She's tremendous. And you know, our community is pretty lucky to have somebody like that as an ambassador to our community and our schools. It's a pretty neat thing.
And I think it speaks well for Beech Grove, the fact that she's left here. Well, let me restate that. While she's gone away, she's never really left. Her heart's still here at Beech Grove, and I think that speaks well. Well, congratulations again on the win at Greenfield Central. Let's move on. Big win over Manual. Now, that was a neat event. It was held at Beech Grove Middle School. Is there always some concern when you change the regular schedule in terms, it's like playing homecoming or whatever the case may be? You played this with a Beech Grove Middle School. First of all, talk about the decision to play it there, and then how you felt like your kids responded to the change in venue.
We had some circumstances here at the high school that required us to move the game to the middle school. Once we knew that we were going to be moving the game to that venue, we decided to incorporate some of our alumni into the event, and we recognized some of our former state champion wrestlers, Ralph Edwards and Stephen Bradley here. Katie Geralds was here. John Hart, former basketball player, currently playing IPUI, was here. And Bill Bain, state runner-up coach. So it's kind of a neat event. And you ask how the kids responded. I thought they did a great job because we practiced at the middle school Wednesday and Friday of last week, and then we had our walkthrough there Saturday morning. But we asked our guys to play with energy for 32 minutes Saturday night. That was our goal, and because we didn't want any of those factors to come into play. Holiday, different venue, different things going on. So we were really focused on our energy, and the guys did a great job coming out and playing hard right from the start of the game and getting down to business.
You think taking the opportunity to practice there a couple of times is probably a huge decision toward making sure they handled all of that well?
I think it probably helped us out a little bit, just making sure they were comfortable with things. But you also have to remember, a lot of them played their middle school basketball there, so it wasn't completely foreign to them, and that probably helped a little bit too.
70-38 the final score. Manual suffered some heavy graduation losses and lost some other players through other circumstances, but I think what that indicates to me is this is no disrespect intended to Manuel, but you played Beech Grove basketball. You didn't play down to your opponent's level, which sometimes is a concern.
Exactly right. And again, we were focused on our energy and how we approached the game, and we were excited. The guys came out right away, were ready, they were intense. And another thing we were really happy with, we played a lot of guys Saturday night. And not just at the end of the game when the score was, the margin was pretty wide, but we played them in the heart of the game, and they contributed. You know, Josh Martin came right in and knocked down a couple of shots. And Jalen Dyson came off the bench and really played well. Zach Zollner was tremendous off the bench Saturday night and really kind of gave us a spark even on top of what the starters have been able to do.
And early on in the season, people talk about developing depth and how important that is, say, for instance, for the Marion County tournament, also sectional time. I think it's equally important to have that depth early in the season because, let's face it, no matter how much they've been in the gym, no matter how much work they've done in the summer, whether they're football players or cross-country runners, whatever, they really don't get their basketball legs underneath them until a couple of weeks into the season.
Exactly. And like you alluded to earlier, we're a young team in terms of the experiences that we have. So we feel like the more experience we can get those guys now, you know, Charles Williams and some of these guys, they've been on our JV team and they've been around the program, but to get them out there in varsity competition, the earlier we can do it, the better off.
Well, before we talk about opponents that Beech Grove will face later on in the season, let's dive into the roster a little bit. You've already mentioned some of those names specifically, you know, your 4 seniors, and you're pretty well loaded with juniors. I think the thing that has impressed me the most, I know throughout the course of football season, for instance, one night when we had the veterans here and we saluted them, you had ambassadors from your basketball team who were welcoming those people, making sure that they get into the right place. I think that you seem to have a group of kids who not only understand that are they representing themselves, but they're representing Beech Grove High School and the community.
We have a group of kids right now in our high school program that are really invested in what we're doing. They believe in what we're doing on the basketball court, but they also believe in what we talk to them about academically and socially and those things. And our sophomore class is really good with that also. Some of those Nathan Haviland and Jake Brickley and Garrett Page and Jared Magnus, I can go down the list. Those guys, they're doing the same things at the JV level. They know the expectations on the court, but they do a great job in the classroom and around the building, and we're really fortunate in that regard right now.
So is it tough for some of your sophomores that are playing maybe JV basketball for the first time to because of the fact that you're so heavy in juniors to not get an opportunity to play varsity, or are they buying into the fact that it's more important for them to be able to play at the JV level?
So far, I think that they're pretty invested. That's a pretty close-knit group. They've been together for a number of years. I think they believe in each other, and I think they enjoy the opportunity to still play together as a team.
So it sounds to me like chemistry is a huge factor.
I think so, absolutely.
And you can't coach that.
No, we're fortunate in that regard. Our juniors, they've started playing together, coached by their fathers, out at the YMCAs and different places as little kids, you know, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, and they've been together a long time. Our sophomores are the same way, and we have a group of core freshmen that are the same.
First couple of games, a couple of double-digit scores in terms of their average per contest. You've got a couple of more guys right around 8 or 9 points per contest. Clearly, everybody would love to have somebody that could put up 26, 27 per night. That gets tougher to do as the years go by in high school basketball. If you get 4 guys around 12, 14 points, I'm assuming you're going to be happy with that most nights.
We think one of our strengths is going to be balance. You know, we know that Joey can go out and have some big games. We feel like Corey will have his nights. Caleb Chumley's certainly capable. But we have a lot of guys who are capable of getting baskets in different ways. Joe Pick can score through his energy, and Zach Zollner can score down in the post, and Jalen Dyson can really put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. And Charles Williams can score getting in passing lanes and offensive rebounds and some of those energy type things. So we feel like we have a pretty well-balanced team in terms of how guys can score, and we share the ball well. So we feel like our balance is going to be one of our assets.
It's easy to get guys to buy into things offensively. How well does this team buy into your philosophies defensively, and how much are they willing to tighten the screws up defensively, get on the floor after loose balls, things like that?
That's one of the things we've been working on here early in the year because they are great kids. We're talking to them about playing with an edge while they're on the court. Not dirty or anything of that nature, but as all out hard as they can play, and they usually do that. And Corey brings us a little bit of physicality and aggressiveness defensively. Charles Williams brings that to us. And, you know, Michael Jennings, you wouldn't think it by watching him walk down the hallways and talk to people, but he's a hard-nosed little guy. And we've got a lot of those types of kids. You know, they're Clark Kent in the hallways. And,
sure.
And different personality when they hit the floor. So we're trying to continue to work on that.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule. Much like the conversation I had with Mark Weller last fall during football season, your conference schedule alone ensures that you're going to be pretty well challenged. You look at other rivals, those that are nearby, teams like Cecina, and of course we mentioned Ritter, Lutheran, conference schools. Of course, a nice rivalry has developed with Roncalli over the years. Start the season with a team like Greenfield Central. You guys don't have too many nights off, quote unquote, off.
We don't, and I like it that way, to be honest, because the tournament in which we compete, you're not going to get a night off.
Right.
You're going to come up against Northwest or Danville or Tri-West or Manual last year was unbelievable. So you've got to be ready to play, and I think it's the regular season needs to be a good preparation for the tournament. And our league is really good. Speedway is very good this year. Park Tudor is going to be good again. Ritter's always a challenge. Lutheran has had years where they're tremendous, but they're always solid. And you can go right down the list of those teams that are going to be very good. And then just being in Marion County, anytime you play a county or city school, you know you're probably going to have a very competitive game on your hands.
And that tournament's January 8th. How valuable is that in terms of developing that mindset for sectional time?
Well, we talk to our guys a lot. We are considered a small school in the county, but we don't want to ever back down from anybody. We want to, no matter who we play, we want to go out and we want to compete and we want to leave it all out there on the floor. And we get Warren Central this year, and we consider it an opportunity. You know, Warren Central will be pretty highly regarded coming into that game. And it's an opportunity for us to see exactly where we are and maybe make a little noise.
Well, most notably coming up here in the next week or so, first of all, we start Friday night at Speedway. The cupboard not bare for the spark plugs. They have athletes year in and year out. One going to Notre Dame to play football and Justin Brent. But the hallmark of Speedway basketball, not only year in and year out do they have, you know, outstanding athletes, they're just a gritty, hard-nosed basketball team, and you better be ready for guys to belly up on you and body up on you and play very aggressive defense.
You're exactly right. They're coached by Charles Bennett, who is a Speedway grad and has spent a lot of he was actually a middle school coach here at Beech Grove for a few years. But he's done a great job. They won their sectional last year, and they have a lot of returners. So they've got that confidence coming into the season. Not to mention the number of their kids played football, and they had an outstanding football season. So they're athletic, they're big, they're physical, and it's going to be fun tomorrow night to go out and compete against them. And they're well coached, they play hard, they do all those things that you want your kids to do, and I'm excited to see how our guys respond.
Well, the home opener, the true home opener, I guess, we already had the home opener at the middle school, will be Saturday night when the Tri-West Bruins come a-calling. Second or third year for their new head coach.
Yes.
Tri-West is, I don't know, I think they don't get enough credit in Hendricks County because of the other schools that are over there, but Tri-West just has a solid athletic program from top to bottom.
They really do. It's a good community, and they support their teams and their athletes over there, and they've got good coaches. And Coach Bontrager, their boys basketball coach, is a good coach. Their kids are bought into what he's doing, and they'll play really hard, and it'll be a good test for us. It's a sectional opponent, so it's good to see them early in the season here and kind of match ourselves up.
What do you have to do to come out of this weekend 2-0?
We got to keep improving defensively, and we'll really work to get stops. You've probably seen our roster. We're not physically imposing.
Right.
So rebounding is going to be a key for us all year. We believe offensively, with the way we move the ball and share the ball, that we'll be able to score against most people. But the key is going to be our ability to defend, and then rebound the basketball. And if we can do those things, we feel like we can really compete with anybody.
One of the most important groups that we've forgotten to mention that we need to get out of the way before we go, in your capacity as not only head basketball coach but athletic director, there's going to be times that you have to rely on an outstanding staff of assistants. Won't you give those guys a shout out before we go?
You know, the thing that's really nice right now about our coaching staff is we've been together for a few years, and Sunday night, I was sitting on the couch with my 4-year-old daughter and my 19-year-old daughter and my wife, and we were watching football, I believe, and I snuck my phone and sent a text message out to the assistant coaches. What do we really like about our team right now? What are the things we need to continue to improve upon? And they all responded back within about 10 minutes, and they were all right about the same answer on the same page. And I was really excited about, number one, their feedback, but number two, that we're all thinking along the same lines. But Ryan Morgan is our varsity assistant, and Ryan is a tremendous human anyway. He's a great guy.
Right.
He's a good teacher, and he really works a lot with our defense. The kids have a ton of respect for Ryan, and he does a great job. Garrett Daniels, our JV coach, and Garrett's young, and I always tell him he's kind of the hip guy on staff. He keeps us up to speed in our fashions and making sure we're getting things. But Garrett's got a really good rapport with the kids.
That's
he
important.
does he's got good energy, and the kids respect him, but he's got a really good way of communicating with the kids. Somebody new to our staff this year is Sam Kinder. Sam teaches in the science department. He's volunteering for us this year, but Sam's just kind of a solid guy. If I say, hey, Sam, can you go scout this game tonight? Or Sam, can you help us with this tonight? He's, yes, coach. What do you need me to do? How would you like me to do it? And he's just kind of a rock-solid guy, and I'm really glad that he's on staff. And then our freshman coach is Dan Neitz, and Dan's been here since I've been here. We came together, and Dan is he's very even-keeled and patient. He's got a great demeanor to work with the freshman team. He understands some of the pitfalls of working with the schedules and different things, but we have a really good staff. They're good people, number one, and they're good coaches, number two.
Well, it makes a big difference because I'm sure you've been in situations before where that wasn't necessarily the case. You just simply have to. You talked about the chemistry among the kids, but first of all, there's got to be solid staff chemistry, and then hopefully that trickles down to your roster.
I think so. We have staff meetings once every couple weeks or once a week, and the first thing we always talk about is be the model. Be the model for your players. And our players have awfully good models to look to. You don't go in Coach Daniel or Coach Morgan's classroom and they're messing around. I mean, they're teaching.
Right.
They teach.
Yeah.
And they work. And the coaching staff, they work together, and they work together to try to find the best ways to help our kids, and they do a great job.
Well, again, don't forget, coming up Friday night, we have Speedway, at Speedway, and then, of course, Saturday night, JV action tips off at 6 p.m. here at Beech Grove High School as your Hornets welcome the Tri-West Bruins. We'll have all the action for you. Coach, congratulations on the great start. We look forward to having you with us this year.
Thank you very much. We're excited to keep rolling.
I'm Mark James. You've been watching the Beech Grove High School Scouting Report. We'll see you next week. Thank you. So long for now.